Hi guys, I'm Shmi, and today's a pretty cool day because I'm out in California for the launch and my first drive with the new Bentley Bentayga, their new SUV, a car for which orders have come in huge numbers already. Nearly 6,000 orders, and the car hasn't even been driven by anybody yet. First test drives are still to come. So we're going to be able to take a look at the Bentayga. Quite a few of the different cars here. You can hear the fans running in overdrive because it's absolutely boiling. We're out near Palm Springs. We've got an off-road course here to enjoy driving. Then we've got some road driving, and we're also going to be heading over to a local racetrack. So we're going to be fully able to experience the sort of different dynamic capabilities of the car, all sorts of different environments. But of course, as usual, the first thing I'm going to do is show you around the car and talk a little bit about it. So the Bentayga, you can see immediately the design is very, very Bentley, and that was one of the goals from the word go. It has a long rear overhang. It has this same sort of rear haunch line that you can see over the rear arches that sort of carries through from the Continental GT. It has a power line through the door that comes out of the Bentley logo in the front grills. Around front, it's a very distinct traditional look with the 4 headlights, the Bentley grille in the centre. It's obviously quite windy out here in the desert, so you'll have to excuse me for that. But this particular car in azure purple looks stunning. It's picked up quite a bit of sand already, as you can tell from our little drive. That is because we are out in the desert. Power comes from a new 6-litre twin-turbocharged W12, 600 brake horsepower up here, 900 Newton meters of torque. 0 to 60 miles per hour is just 4.0 seconds, and top speed is over 300 kilometers per hour, 187 miles per hour. This car is pretty highly spec'd, and I'll go over the specification a little bit further on. But for Bentley, this was a sort of completely new car. You know, their first time making, well, a hatchback car, so the whole design of the rear has been worked from the word go. All the body panels, they're made out of superformed aluminium, which allows them to sort of put in quite a sharp crease line, which really emphasizes the different shapes. And from my mind means that if you have the car in a sort of pearlescent bright color, it's going to add to the design a lot, because you see sort of different colors bouncing off it in all sorts of different places. Of course, this is all a new design, but the tail lights wrapping around the outside gives it a really wide exterior stance, which is exactly what Bentley were going for with the design of this car. So I'll take a quick look at the interior. I'll show you the key quickly. The new Bentley key that we've got here, which is a lovely solid chrome piece. All the materials right down to the key here are obviously the sort of highest quality possible, keyless, unsurprisingly. We have a very smart interior on this car, black and black leather with a piano black trim finisher. And I'll come and show you around the interior in a little bit more detail further on, but just some sort of highlight pieces, sort of new quilting on the seats. This top section that you can actually see into from the outside with the diamond stitch quilting looks very, very smart. There's a lot of technology in here. New 8-inch touchscreen loaded with different features. We've got Bentley's dynamic drive system here with all sorts of different modes. We'll talk about that while we're driving. And it's just generally very, very smart and very, very luxurious, all the way through to the rear as well, which matches the front. The rear seats are like the front seats, the same, well, in this 4-seat configuration with a center console, equal comfort in the back, and you also have Bentley's tablet entertainment system, which I'll play through as well, which is a fairly expensive option, but very, very smart the way the Android tablets sit there on the rear headrests. I'll come around and show you in the boot of the car, the trunk as they would say out here. Lots of space. There's options for, well, here you've got the sort of seat which comes out and can fold flat, and you can sit on it underneath the canopy of the rear. Sort of some nice touches like the lights here, just so you can sort of see your way around. And we've got an optional, well, we've got the optional tray here, but you could otherwise have the sort of complete picnic set if you'd like. All sorts of different things that the car can have. So it's definitely pretty smart. The engine's 30 kilos lighter than the previous W12. The body panels shave 236 kilos off standard conventional methods. And initially I think it looks very, very nice. Sales have been very high from the word go. Like I said, well over 5,000 orders already, and nobody has even test driven one yet. No customer test drives have taken place. So it bodes very well, because Bentley weren't initially expecting quite that uptake, but no surprise, it's absolutely gorgeous, and I think
they've done a pretty good job. So I'm looking forward now to jumping in and heading out for a little drive.
Quick glance at everything that I'm looking at then. This is the all-terrain information view that I've got in front of me. You can see the steering wheel angle shown as well, and all sorts of other information. We've got the hill descent control applied, and here's the selector lever that you can see in the trail mode. Well, here we are inside the Bentayga. Now, this is obviously the very first time I've driven this car, and I'm going straight out onto an off-road course. So the car's already been pre-configured into the right driving mode. We've got the woodland and trail mode selected. The ride height has been raised slightly. I've got the all-terrain information showing on the navigation system screen. So this is kind of the deep end, because my first time driving the car is on an off-road course, but it should be quite fun. And then after that, we'll be heading out into more sort of normal driving environments. But this is all about showing the dynamic capabilities of this car, and I've heard it's pretty impressive, so I'm rather looking forward to giving this a go. Away we go, up the first incline, handled with ease, no problem at all. Then we've got a couple of rather bumpy bits. Well, none of this seems to be any issue at all. Now obviously this car is supposed to have all of this kind of all-terrain capability, and that's really what this is about demonstrating. And to be honest, so far this is pretty good. I think there's perhaps a sense that you might not believe it is capable of doing this kind of thing, but as I go over this crest here with no idea, whoa, down we go. Okay, that was on the hill descent control, keeping the speed there down. That was spectacular. Just sort of controlling the car on its way down, and now we've got some really rather bumpy sections. Okay. They tell me it can do this. I'll believe them. Just being gentle on the car. Off-roading is obviously about getting the balance right, as I've learned on previous trips and demonstration tests, but this is handling this with relative ease. I think it would be fair to say this is a rather unusual way to do your first ever test drive in a car, but it seems to be doing the job absolutely fine. Well, this is going to be interesting. We've got a bit of a bridge in front of us. Just had a watch of another car going down. And now it's my turn. Right, so I've got somebody in front of me guiding me. Take it very slowly and carefully. Adjust the steering. And release the auto hold and roll down. Okay, that was pretty awesome. That worked perfectly fine. Now we get to continue it around the course. More to learn, more to see. So you adjust the hill descent control by pressing a little bit further on the brake, and it will take it to a slightly slower speed. But the way all that sort of technology works, you might have seen before, the car will sort of use all the traction available sort of settings and configuration, and the computer's just working in overdrive to maintain a consistent speed while you go downhill. So if it was a steep, gentle gradient, you could set a speed and it wouldn't let the car sort of build up and over-accelerate. But this is really quite interesting to see what this car is capable of in this environment. And this is the same car that we'll be driving around the track later on, and being able to sort of compare the different sort of breadth of abilities of one machine. Okay, up to the sky we go. I'm not entirely sure what's down the other side of this. Oh look at that view. Okay, wow. Wow. Okay, hill descent control doing its thing. I've slowed it down just to 2 miles per hour. It's an amazing view looking down at the ground like this. Wow. That's fantastic. That must have been quite some gradient, and the car just held, absolutely held on it. How's this for an angle? So when you're driving like this on an angle, you always turn into the curve. Counterintuitive slightly, but the traction control really doing its thing on the previous downhill, where I was able to completely feel that I was going nowhere and I just had to keep my foot sort of positioned on the accelerator, and it was able to get the traction and get us through. But this is not a light terrain park. This is certainly some difficult bits to be getting the car over. We've got bridge number 2 then. Slow and steady does it. And off we continue. And we're back. So the next step is going to be out on the road. That was an awful lot of fun, taking the Bentayga off-road. It's supposed to be sort of an example of what the car is capable of, obviously vastly beyond the sort of conditions that most people who buy this car are going to be driving it in, but a demonstration of what it can do, and I have to say it handled it pretty well. Well, we're now out onto a road, so driving in a more normal environment, although we're on a nice, tight, twisty road, which is the kind of thing I absolutely love, of course, and spend as much time as possible doing. I've got the car set up in the completely normal mode at the moment, and it does drive and feel like a Bentley. It's very, very quiet. There is effortless power available when you do want to put your foot down. The gearbox is obviously the 8-speed ZF box, very, very smooth and easy, and there is a lot of power and a lot of torque, so it has a lot of performance when you want it. Obviously you've got the sort of standard kind of settings that you can change. You can put it into comfort mode, which noticeably softens the ride. The suspension becomes even more of a sort of cruising waft, kind of just gently driving up the road. Machine, the steering gets a little bit different as well. I prefer it in the normal, or if I go the other way, all the way to sport, where everything will firm up and tighten up and be a little bit more fun, and of course the gearbox will hold on to the lower gears a little bit longer. The usual kind of things that you expect. The car has a change from Bentley's sort of traditional paddles, which are fixed location above the indicators and wipers on each side, to new paddles on the back of the steering wheel here. The steering wheel itself actually is a really nice piece, loads of buttons and things, and everything sort of in convenient location, and a nice feel to it as well to drive. But when I just drop down a few gears manually on the pedals here, you'll hear a little bit of noise, with this sort of famous, well, to me famous, I suppose, upshift noise, that sort of boom noise that the gearbox makes from, well, the engine makes, the W12, as we go. But the sound doesn't sort of invade the cabin much. We've got the air conditioning blowing quite hard at the moment because it is absolutely boiling today, but it's very, very quiet and peaceful in here, which is generally what you're going to want from this car. So let's pop it back into drive mode, or sport mode, because obviously I have the dynamic selector in sport here. So steering's pretty good for an SUV. It's riding very nicely. I mean, that seems to be the general consensus from people who have driven the car so far. And generally the way the technology is going makes it possible for these sort of higher vehicles to drive with sportier suspension setups. You obviously have a brilliant view out, so you've got a nice high road position, and a lovely sort of dash and display setup around you. So initial impressions, really pretty good. As well as how it is to drive, of course, there is a lot of technology in here. So it is literally loaded with sensors and everything you could imagine. You know, your adaptive cruise control, your lane assistance, your lane guidance, it will keep you in lane, your blind spot monitoring. From a tech point inside, you've got a heated steering wheel, ventilated seats, 22-way seats, so you can control them in just about every way you want. You've got all the massaging functionality, just literally loaded with tech. Everything is the sort of latest. You know, the navigation touchscreen is the Google Maps version, so you've got the sort of satellite view. The car's providing a Wi-Fi connection, so it's literally sort of the latest and greatest systems you could want inside the car, and you can spec it up with so much stuff. I'll run over the options list for this specific car shortly,
because we've got over £50,000 of options in here, which does make this a £211,000 car. It's about £160,000 base. So you can clearly kind of go to town with the options list, but that's
in a quarter of a mile.
There we go, navigation just letting us know what to do. But yeah, that's what the car is sort of about, being able to personalise it, customise it, and have exactly what you want on it.
Having had my first bit of drive, we're now at an airfield where we're going to be jumping on board a helicopter and heading over to some dunes, so that's going to be rather exciting. But while I'm here, I'm going to show you a little bit more around the interior of Bentayga and what we're sort of looking at, what we've got going on, and what everything in here is sort of all about. The first thing I'm going to point out is the new sort of digital display in the centre here, which is set back behind the analogue dial, so it still maintains the traditional Bentley design sort of look and style. We've probably got quite a lot of air conditioning noise going on here, but nice interaction there with the touchscreen for the controls and the like. We've got these nice sort of digital readouts as well. Looking around, I mean, because there's so much tech, there are obviously lots and lots of buttons for controlling all of that. Everything here you'd expect for all the windows, the mirrors and the like. The memory controls down here, tailgate button, so you've got a button down here to open the boot. If I open the door, you can see the controls for the seat, and we're upside down, but all sorts of lumbar controls and the 22-way seat controls. So it's chiming at me because the ignition was, well, the engine was on while the door was open there. You've got all sorts of indicator icons up top on the main display. You can go through different sort of views and controls and the like and things, and yeah, all the stuff you'd expect to be able to see up here. Date time information. Yeah, more or less what you're sort of familiar with. We've got sort of a number of systems here. So night vision mode, which isn't going to work very well in the insane sunshine right now. Well, actually it sort of does. You can just about see that it's showing something, maybe, if there's not too much light glare off there. So we've got that. The lane assist, automatic lights, well, on, fixed. The adaptive cruise control toggle next to it. Normal cruise control. Lights, wipers, paddles. All the usual heated steering wheel button here. We don't want that on right now because it's way too hot for that. We've got obviously this new 8-inch touchscreen, all the sort of controls and commands you expect, and it's very, very nice. It's been updated and made to a very high standard, so this works all round really well. I mean, everything's obviously very natural and flowing. Just all round works pretty well. And obviously you can go through the air conditioning controls, lots and lots of buttons for that there. Hope you can see all of that with the light. Gear stick, park distance control. I'm not entirely sure what this button is. Specify which direction to leave parking space with indicator. Okay then. Handbrake, automatic handbrake. Park button for the gear stick is on the back there. You've got a nice ashtray sort of item, as usual, Bentley fit and finish, and it's held in place with a clip at the bottom. The buttons down here, traction control, hill descent control. On this side you've got to raise and presumably lock the suspension, and then to lower the suspension into a sportier setting, I suppose. You've got the toggle that I talked about earlier, start-stop button in the centre, auto start-stop for the engine, and then the 8 different terrain modes that you've got going on there. Over to the passenger side, I'll just quickly show you the glove box, big glove box, and this is where we have the options list. Now this is a very, very long list, I'm not going to lie, but we could just have a quick glance down it if you want to see in any more detail. Things just to highlight, I suppose, we've got the 4-seat comfort specification that's just over £8,000, touring specification 6,000 or so. We've got the name for Bentley Premium Audio, which I can't show you for copyright, but it sounds absolutely fantastic, and awesome sound system. And then total price £211,000. If you want to take a detailed look at this and what each of these different options packs include, you can probably pause the video, take a quick look at any of those. But it's loaded with specification. Absolutely crazy the amount of things we have on here. So I'll pop that back, stop the engine because I want to just have another quick look in the back Two things I want to show you in the back of the car. Gosh, we're picking up a lot of sand today. Down here you have the touch panel. That will need the ignition on, so maybe I need to press this. Just turn the ignition on here. There we go. So you've got the climate control for the rear, control through this touch panel that you eject and then remove. And there you've got a lot of things you can look at and play with. So you can move the front seat forward, which is fun. So we've got all of that, seats, because obviously the rear has the full sort of seat control as per the front. Basically the back is equal in level to the front. Then we've got these tablets. If I just close the door, maybe we'll get slightly less light glare. Everything in here, again, it's an Android based tab, does the whole lot, absolutely everything you would imagine that this is going to do. So you've got your emails, the whole caboodle, everything you could possibly want. Google Earth as well. Oh, that's very nice. That's very, very nice. So it's zoomed us all the way in. Yep, we're on an airfield. Yep, that's Atlantic Aviation. That's where we are right now. Fantastic. So yeah, you can see that is neatly equipped, and I can't really show. Oh yes, I can. Just it removes removable tablets. So yeah, that works very well. I won't be able to pop it back while I'm holding the camera, so I'll just pop it on the seat for the time being. You can see the lovely mesh. So all the sort of materials and finish, you know, even the mesh on the speakers is designed by the interior trim department just to properly fit in, look fantastic. Now I don't know if this car has it, but some of them have the tailgate. No, so we'll just do it with the button for now. But you can wave your foot underneath for that. The back, there's a through load system behind this central tray, which you just flick those up to push it forwards, and you also have this button here, which drops the rear of the car. It sits down, you can see it going down here. So it's literally hunching down at the back. That's actually quite fun to watch on the air suspension, so it's much easier to lift heavy items into the back, obviously, when it's sat down, and then you can press again to put it back to normal and close the boot. Anyway, I think it's time for me to jump into the helicopter now and head on to the next part of this adventure. That was fun, and now we're going to be jumping into this red Bentayga. We've got a couple of cars here, and we'll head off into the dunes. Here we are in the dunes, and just waiting for the cars to come back, the ones that are specially set up for driving on sand. Of course, you can't just take a normal car and take it straight out, so those will come back in a second. We'll grab some lunch inside, and then we'll head out and do this drive. As we head out then into the dunes, what modes are we in? Well, how are we set up?
We're actually set into the sand off-road mode. It typically will start off in the Bentley mode when you start the vehicle, and we adjusted it all the way to the sand. It's the conditions. It's going to format the ECM, whatever you might call it, and adjust the throttle position and the transmission settings to adapt for the power and send it to the proper wheels and
be ready for this.
Keep us from being stuck.
Yeah, well, I can feel it's. I mean, this is the first time I've driven across anything like this, and I can feel it slides around with quite a lot of ease already.
It will a little bit, but you'll see that it's actually really good out here, and just follow my instructions, and there shouldn't be any problems. But right now we don't need a lot of instructions because it's pretty self-explanatory. We'll just hold up again just a moment.
So you sort of stick with the throttle as you're going around?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and roll into it here, and then once we kind of start heading up, you can just kind of give it what she's got. You can give some more, it's fine. There you go. And then same thing, just off the throttle, let it roll to a stop. You don't need the brakes, it'll stop on its own.
Yeah.
And then we'll just, we'll take our turn here. And you can go up high if you want, it's not a problem. Same thing, no, don't be afraid of that throttle. More throttle, it'll like it. There you go. Yeah, see, we went higher than all those guys.
fun kind of game of testing, finding the counter sort of balance.
Yeah, there's the fine line that you gotta basically drive on.
And it's a bit like drifting. It's when you feel you've overcooked the steering, you have to turn it back a notch.
And then we'll let them get ahead. They can, because we don't want to get right up on top of them again. If they get a little hung up, then we're not getting hung up with them. So go for it. Have some fun. Have more fun. More fun than this. Come on. There you go. There's fun. 600 horsepower. Play with it. Go up. Go up. Go up. Give some gas. Go up. Go up. There you go. Give some. Yeah. That's what he wanted to do. Perfect. Now just back out, let it roll down this little hill here. It'll slide a little bit, but we'll be alright. Because when they disappear, who knows where they're at. They could be stuck or whatever. So we want to see them drive off. As soon as they're driving off, just nice and slow and easy.
The technique for going down the hill, do you just sort of let it roll?
Slow as possible is actually the best. Kind of hover on the brake slightly, just so you control the speed. Because now it's almost like we're driving down an ice hill.
Yeah.
Because the sand's just going to give out the whole time. So slower than this, just nice and slow. We don't need to be in a hurry to go down it. We'll get down it. Gravity is our friend here.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, so a little slower. We'll be all right.
Wow.
And once it levels off, just hammer down. Stay out of the tracks. Go for it. Go. We're heading on up that way. Just go. Hammer down. Go. Don't let up. Just go, 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 go. There you go. Now back out. Let it roll. We'll see where they're at. They're up here. There you go. Perfect.
Massive clouds going over the sand behind us.
That's fine. And then just right up to where they're at. So nice and slow again, just like previously.
Goodness me.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
Yeah, the angle is insane.
Alright, and just steer straight up. There you go. And once in front and low, now hammer down. Go for it. Have some fun. Don't be scared. You back out when we sink. There you go. You can get up high, but you don't want to go all the way over the crest. Go for it. Go for it. Stay up. 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 All right. Nice. A little bit of brakes. A little bit of brakes. All right. Have some throttle fun. Just watch out for the buggies in the other one.
Back at the airfield, and we have just a quick short drive now, just only 6 miles or so to the hotel, and then I'll just sort of gather my thoughts and wrap us up. But we're going to be jumping for this final stretch into the blue Bentayga. I don't actually know if for me it would be this blue colour or the purple from earlier, but they do look good in the bright colours, the way it's sort of the light bends around the power lines and sort of sharp lines on the car. So we're going to jump in, go for the short little drive back to the hotel. Well, we're back at the hotel, which is where everything actually started this morning before my video got underway. The cars are all lined up here. They get cleaned up and prepared for their next activities. We're at the Ritz Hotel in Palm Springs, which is an absolutely lovely venue and fits in with the whole sort of angle of this car, the luxuriousness and sort of using it for all the different capabilities and everything. And tomorrow we're going to be taking the cars over to a local race circuit, and that will be another dynamic angle trying the drive. But I'm not gonna lie, they have done a very, very nice job. And although the majority of customers might not necessarily use them for this kind of off-roading purpose, it's the fact that the car is capable of doing it. And you know, a car like, well, this one, let me show you the interior in here. It's a beautiful specification. Really, really like the two-tone of the interior trim of this car. And driving it was brilliant. You know, ample power. Lots and lots of it. Luxury, comfort. It is very much very much a Bentley in every possible way. It's quiet, it's exceptionally comfortable. I can't really emphasize enough how quiet it is, and with the music system inside, it just sounds absolutely brilliant. Well, the sound system is brilliant, but the sort of ride and everything is very, very good too. The comfort, the suspension, exceptionally soft, but then the power. Now 900 Newton meters of torque is no small number, and you really do feel it. It just sort of can whisk away, and it sort of just keeps going with so much power. Well, I think the point is it's more than you could possibly need. I'm not sure if there's going to be a V8 version down the line or not, but I wouldn't say that the W12 feels overly heavy. It fits with the car, and very much what it's going for. I'm just enjoying looking at all of this, to be honest, seeing them all. Although we have not got the most colourful array of cars there in front of us. But there we go, my first look at the new Bentley Bentayga SUV, a car that is going to be exceptionally popular. Sales figures already demonstrating that. A number of the different specifications on show here. So I'll follow up with some further thoughts on my drive to the race circuit, and also again on the road in due course. So make sure you're subscribed to check that out, and I'll catch up with you again very soon. Cheers.
This is the moment. This is the LaFerrari. Let's pull the paddle, pop it into gear.
The touch panel to open it up. Firstly, all of the body panels on the car, except for the doors,